Welcome, everyone. It's 4:00. We'll call to order the City of Coos Bay Parks Commission meeting for March 21st, 2024. We'll start out with a roll call. I see no one online on Zoom, so we'll start at the very end.
Lance Knoll, City of Coos Bay.
Greg Hamblett, City of Coos Bay.
Bev Myers, Parks Commission.
Bill Davis, Parks Commission.
Carmen Matthews, Parks Commission.
Ariane Lyons, Parks Commission.
Jamie Faraday, Parks Commission.
Eric Clough, Parks Commission.
Kurt Benwick, Parks Commission.
Jennifer Wersing, City of Coos Bay.
And Amy Edmonds, City of Coos Bay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We will do public comment. There is one public comment that needed to collect something, so we'll come back to that, but we'll start with the first person for public comment. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Katie Loy. I am a board member of Oregon Bay Area Beautification, also known as OBAB. And we are currently planning our calendar for 2025. Last year, we met with the city for our 2024 projects, and it's set in motion unless something changes. So we figured this year maybe that we would approach the Parks Commissions to see if you guys had any ideas for us as we plan ahead. Just so you're aware, since November 2021 was the first project. And since then, we've had about a minimum of 20 volunteers and up to a max of almost 100. Efforts completed were not just trash collection. They were also repairing and repainting benches, painting picnic tables, hammering loose nails, painting outside structures, painting bathrooms, and various weed removals and weed eating. And this year, thanks to the City of Coos Bay, we added tree planting to John Toppitz. We were able to plant 40 Sitka spruce trees. That was a very fun project. We had a lot of people come out and the kids loved it especially. This month, we helped with the labor of spreading fresh mulch to the wooded trails in North Bend at Ferry Road Park. And OBAB cleanups are just 2-hour projects, and even with low attendance, a great deal of work is accomplished in those 2 hours. We're in our second year of officially being formed as a 501c3. So we're not ready or equipped to begin applying for grants. So much of what we run on for supplies and everything is on donations. So we've proven to show results in voter turnout, and this helps make an impact on getting tasks accomplished. We would welcome any input you guys have on what you would like us to target in 2025. And we are extremely grateful for the City of Coos Bay in helping us organize and focus our projects. And we are very fortunate to have David Crandall, who leads the park department. He works with us so well. And one of my favorite things about him is he always makes sure that there is a family and kid-friendly event to do. And I know the kids that help at these projects, they have a lot of fun. And I know that's going to instill great memories and a sense of community pride. So please reach out to us. We're working on it. We should have our schedule done by the fall. And I not only volunteer with OBAB, I'm also involved with the OHSU Step It Up Change Club. That is a part of a walking study. And we are in the process of making a walking guide. And it's going to include various city parks. So, and along with that, I'm also the founder of the Park Pack of Coos Bay and North Bend, which I lead two walks a week to enjoy our city parks. It's just a mile and it's been growing, and it's actually been a whole year since they've done it. And it's gotten people out to enjoy our parks and everything like that. And John Toppitz happens to be a big favorite with people. So just so you know, it is well loved, and people don't exactly feel safe, but with their walking group, it's done a lot of good. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Eric?
Do you have any contact information you can give us so that we can reach out? And you were asking for ideas or whatever? Oh, great. Thank you.
And for the walking groups, we find that information on Facebook?
Yes, I am on Facebook. I have a group.
Also, I noticed that that flyer that you just handed out was on the Friday update as well. So if you are not part of the city's Friday update, I would highly suggest that you go ahead and get on with that. they have, there's a QR code as well on this, flyer that I believe leads to your information Facebook page or something like that. So, yeah, it looks like a great schedule coming up.
Yeah. perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being
It's
heavily
amazing.
involved.
Is there any input from staff on any direction moving forward for areas of target help?
Yeah, so we did last year, we met with OBAB to kind of schedule out what they were hoping to accomplish and kind of share goals from a city standpoint with OBAB. They responded quite well. Thank you. You guys, amazing throughout the entire year. I look forward to having the conversation with OBAB again as far as, you know, what projects we'd like to tackle. And I think it's awesome that we're including the commission and maybe coming up with some ideas. So maybe we can kind of brainstorm and then at our next Parks Commission meeting, kind of come up with some collective ideas that maybe we can present to OBAB.
Can we add that to the agenda for next month?
I have a question. Does OBAB collaborate with any other organizations such as Coos Watershed?
Yes, we did trees
Mhm.
and weed pullers to pull the stuff.
Great, perfect.
Thank you very much. Cricket, do you have something to share for public comment today?
Oh, we
No.
couldn't do it without them.
Okay.
basically. So, no, I just.
Yeah.
Decided.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
They're still on our calendar for
Yep.
next year, so you
Yep.
can't take her spot.
no, no, we won't.
It's really
Yeah,
important.
we're going to give her two.
We get partly we get the harder workers that are really gung ho. We also get some older people that can manage that and feel more comfortable, and kids. So it's a good place to have a little bit of everything. We'll have to work with Dave and everyone to figure out a schedule, because our Memorial Day thing is sort of, they come on the 11th, and then Memorial Day is a couple weeks away, and we're going all the way through traditional morning Memorial Day. So we'll have to figure out what to do.
Perfect. Thank you. Mike Vaughn, do you want to share your public comment? You ready?
Yes, thank you.
Years ago, there was a windmill constructed. At no cost, collaboration between 4 or 5 different entities, Kuntz Machine Shop, or Science, Doss Brothers, Pete Billiter, and Kuntz put this windmill together at no cost. And it sat on my nursery for years down where the Morgan Vet is now. Originally, it was where the sitting on a concrete wall where the History Museum is now. And it sat there for years, then got moved to where Morgan's is now. And I neglected to take it off the property when it sold to Morgan. So Morgan owned it. Well, Roger Craddock asked me if I could build one for what they were asking for. And I said, no, because those parts are like expensive. And so it ended up, the city did buy that from Morgan for $2,800 or something. I don't know what it was. And it sits in the shop now and down on Lockhart. Roger said it was going to go on a new parking lot on Front Street. And I assumed that'd be great. And then I might be asked how it might be mounted and where it might be put. But Jennifer told me there wasn't any evidence of that being located there. And so I'd like to present some options. Parks and Recreation, I think, is a good place to start. I got some locations here. I'm sorry, I don't have dozens of them. But
Thank you. We'll do that now.
So there's 6 locations.
Working, sorry. Carmen. Okay, we'll do.
And this, as you all know, is our green railing that is 1949 ODOT railing that got put in after trucks got bigger in 1949 and added to Conda McCullough's designs. So we widened our highways, and this became the new railing on many bridges and byways across Oregon. I loved it, and I got about 1,000 feet of this from Santiam River bridge that went in, and ODOT gave it to us for our waterfront. I was working on the design for the waterfront with Crow Clay Associates. And so they gave it to us with the idea that we would be responsible to remove the lead paint. And so Sauce Brothers volunteered to do that and got painted, and we got it on the boardwalk. Later, we got more of it. Coos Bay Fabrication made more of it to go all the way to Golden. And so I would like to keep this green fencing along with the windmill, the kinetic sculpture, so that wherever it might be, it has a continuity of our green railing. We have green railing at Fred Meyer, where the 2 highways separate, and all along the waterfront. And I've got some concepts to continue our boardwalk as a pathway all the way to where my new mural is. And that will be another time to present to you. But the 6 places, let's start with the boardwalk, which I think the Parks and Rec is responsible for. The first place on the south end would be where the green railing starts. That is Golden, I believe. Golden Avenue. And it's indicated with a little red star. The next place would be where the South Dock begins, the first ramp over to a dock, kind of announcing our docks, our recreational boating, fishing boats.
At the other end of the railing. At the other end of the railing?
No, it wouldn't be really close to the railing. It would be, there's a poor cherry tree that sits where the storm gate, storm sewer is at the end of the boardwalk there. This cherry tree is in horrible shape, and I would like to see something there that announces our marina. The end of the green bridge on the green railing on the south would be a nice place to start it. The beginning of the marina would be a nice place to start it. The other end of that railing ends up in front of Sauce Brothers. And that would be the extent of that proposal to the Parks and Rec for locating it along the boardwalk. There are other locations that I've indicated that I'm not sure that it's responsibility of Parks and Rec, but I noted the new parking lot on Front Street as one of those. There is a Meridian on the north end of Global Motel, the old Timber Inn. that would be an ideal place for both north and south traffic to understand something's going on where we have a little art in our town. We appreciate whimsy, whatever. What is that? It's saying we have art. It's kinetic. It's attractive. Like, what does it mean? And may make people curious about why is it there and what's behind it. And so I think that covers all 6 of them.
Okay.
I got a
Mike?
question.
Yeah.
What kind of anchoring would be needed for this?
The anchor that I poured, actually Knife River also donated the concrete on the end of a pour, but it's about 4 feet deep and about 4 feet square and has 1 inch, 4 1-inch bolts.
Mhm.
And the vertical element is an old lamppost from the 30s in Coos Bay. And so Art Signs had it laying up there and he said, sure, you can have it. So it's an old, it's a vintage lamppost from our town. So it's got some history in its fabrication and it's an attractive thing that actually moves in the wind and tells you which way the wind's blowing. There was a man with a float plane that depended on seeing
Yeah.
which way the wind was blowing. He said, don't take that down. I depend on that. I got to know which way the wind's blowing here. Anyway,
Mike, I'm in the effort of time, because we have a
Yeah.
pretty full agenda. I appreciate you bringing this to us, and if we could add it to the agenda for next month for making some
Yeah.
recommendations, we appreciate you bringing this to us because it is a pretty
Thanks.
cool sculpture. and-
I'll get back with Greg
Okay.
and maybe have some further discussion about other ideas.
And that would be great if those are provided to us beforehand, then
Yeah.
the commission, we can go out and take a look at them and then
Exactly.
hopefully make some decisions at
And
our next meeting.
just one more thing, I think that a continuation of our walkway to the new Teakwood Plaza would be and should be a part of our Parks and Recreation Park plan.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I appreciate that comment as well. Okay. Thank you so much, Mike. Do we have any additional further public comments? Anyone who'd like to speak? Good. Okay, we're going to move on down to action item 3A, Adopt a Park Status Report.
So the City of Coos Bay Parks Commission has established a subcommittee to explore the possibility of establishing an Adopt a Park program. The subcommittee has been working hard on the pilot program and have made a lot of good steps forward. So the subcommittee would like to provide an update to their work to date and continue to reach the goals that were required by the Parks Commission. So wasn't sure who on the subcommittee was going to be making the presentation. But I'll let them hash it out.
Well,
I can help.
we'll,
How about I
we'll
nominate
team
Jamie?
tag this.
Yeah, we'll tag team.
Because Coco obviously has done the lion's share of this work. But we did meet with Coco and we went over the, what's on your, if you go to the 4th attachments, the last one is what I think we really need to focus on. The one that says Adopt a Park Pilot Program, City of Coos Bay Parks Commission Report, prepared for March 21 public meeting. And there you'll see 3 bullets, which basically is, we don't have to move on these 3 bullets, one of these options. But we should know what to expect maybe at the next meeting. Isn't that what you remember?
It says right here, a decision will need to be made on or before the May 16th, 2024 City of Coos Bay Parks meeting. So
Do we need to make either a decision? We should make a decision either today or at next month's meeting.
yeah, was Coco going to be at the next one?
I believe so.
So, I mean, we can do our best to adequately share the information. Coco definitely has more of a of a line on all of this, but um,
Carmen, if you don't mind, I'm sorry, I did miss out an action item to be requested, and I could read that for you if
Yeah.
you'd like. And I apologize about that.
Yeah, no
I was, you guys sounded pretty anxious to go. I was
yeah, we're ready to
I was
rush.
right there with you.
We've been wanting to talk about this for a while.
So there is an action requested, and that action requested is if it pleases the commission, review the materials provided and approve the proposed funding raising campaign as described in document titled Adopt Park Pilot Program, City of Coos Bay Parks Commission Report prepared for March 21st, 2024 public meeting. So at the bottom of that, on that same document that we were just looking at, that is titled that, there is at the bottom some fundraising campaigns that I know the subcommittee is interested in pursuing. But I think that they're going to need a recommendation from the commission to go ahead and pursue those fundraising options. So with that, I'll turn it back over to subcommittee members, Carmen Matthews and Jamie Faraday. Sorry to take the wheels off the bus there, Jamie.
No, we're moving through it's strict efficiency.
Yeah,
So I'm all about voting now.
all right. Yeah, so Coco has a bunch of fundraising ideas. And I guess she wants the Parks Commission's blessing to move forward with some of those. There's a lot of grants that are out that need some kind of matching contributions. And so the Adopt a Park pilot program would like to start collecting those funds. And there's a lot of different ideas. We'll see how successful we are. But in terms of specifics, Jamie, are you seeing something that we need to point to directly?
I think, Carmen, I think in the back of this thing,
Yeah.
she listed items under the fundraising campaign that said decision now.
Yeah,
Mm.
there's
And
10
I'm assuming
items.
those are the ones that they wanted some action on.
Correct. Page 11 of
In our
the
book.
agenda document.
Oh, I'm looking at her,
So
her
so
one.
quickly in the effort of things. So there's a several different decision now items, and one of them would be to hold a movie night event at the Egyptian Theater, an event at the Coos History Museum that would be for matching funds for the Mingus Park Community Building and the Scout Cabin with a Depression era theme, music at the cabin with advanced ticket sales, direct letter writing campaign, and eat out night support with the local eateries contributing, a radiothon auction, a pet parade event at John Topics, awareness funds, microplastic fundraising program, and then different John Topics fundraising for trail marker replacement and some workshop events.
Summarized.
Yeah. So I think there's a variety of different things that we could do. We can move forward with making the decision now on some of the main items. The ones that are calling for the decision is the Coos History Museum, a movie night at the Egyptian Theater, the letter writing campaign, and pet parade in July, plastic awareness. So those are the other items. Those are the main items of concern, but there's 10 items total.
Correct. That's my understanding.
So I think that we're talking about two things. One is approving the fundraising, the action item would be approving some of the fundraising campaign. And then the other item related to the Adopt a Park status report is doing one of the three decisions that are at the top of the page, which would be to terminate the program, extend it until May 2025 as a pilot program, or to adopt the full program within the city of Coos Bay with more structure and funding to achieve goals. Has the city done a cost analysis on those three items? And are they able for us to make a decision on that, or should we push that section to next month?
So I think in her documents, she requests that a decision be made by May 16th,
Mhm.
2024. So I think maybe we can have that decision. We can put it as a topic of conversation for the next Parks Commission meeting in April.
Okay,
And we can have the information more readily available.
okay. So we're going to table the three item, the Adopt a Park pilot program decision of the entirety until April. But I would like to reflect on the 10 items, the 10 fundraising, and get some movement forward on those, since those are time sensitive, given requesting rooms and things. So do we want to take these one at a time, or should we review them, the 10 items that are listed, and get movement forward or concerns?
Can I just ask a question, Madam
Mhm.
Chairman? You know, the action items that Coco submitted for us to make a decision on, like the first one for the Egyptian is for May,
Mhm.
okay? So that's something she probably needs to move on right away. But if you terminate the pilot program,
Mhm.
which is one of the three options at the next meeting in April, then there's no sense in having a fundraiser in May or any of the other ones.
Yeah.
So, you know, from my personal perspective and looking over that stuff, I'm fine with either extending it as a pilot program or extending it as a full program right now, based on everything that they've done. I mean, when you look at the activities that they've done with the community house already, that would never have been accomplished without Adopt the Park program. So I have no difficulty in going forward with it and then making that decision today rather than tabling it. But that's just a suggestion.
Could we look at making the decision in April between either extending as a pilot or making it a full-blown program based on the financial impacts that the city provides in April, but removing the termination as an option for April?
I don't have a problem with that, but you know, what kind of impact does it have financially on the city, the Adopt a Park program? I mean, just generally.
I think they need to do some research on that,
Okay.
which is why I gave them the option for April.
Okay.
My guess is.
I mean, I want to do it as a full program, but we need more
Okay.
information, of course, so.
I'm fine with that. You know, they did provide us some information on the volunteer hours and the amount of money that they raised. I didn't see in there, were there any large expenditures from the city in order to accomplish that? So, but I'm fine with waiting.
I didn't see any large city expenditures, but I imagine that there's been a amount of time from city staff that has a part of the calculus.
Yeah.
So I personally, I like your suggestion of removing the termination of the program. Yes, I move to remove the terminate the program in favor of another option for the Adopt a Park pilot program, and to keep the conversation open to extend the term of the pilot program or adopt the full program until the next meeting. Is that close enough?
All right, we have a first and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye or raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. So now we'd like to move on to the fundraising options. Is there any further discussion or concerns about the fundraising options that are listed?
From my point of view, I feel like a lot of these are still kind of up in the air.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, options.
Placeholder.
I have my own opinions about each one of those and the efficiency or, you know, fundraising potential of each one of those. And personally, as a member of the Adopt a Park pilot program, I'd like a menu to select from and maybe a little bit more discussion on how to further flush this out, because most of these have just come from one person.
Mhm.
And I think that there still warrants a little bit more discussion. So I would like to see us move forward with these options as being within the scope, but maybe not make the pilot program beholden to doing these ones specifically as called out.
I agree, and maybe we could use these as homework for the rest of us. If you have any suggestions of any of these, and maybe we should drop a few or combine a few that are fundraising entities that are at venues. I'm not sure if we should have, like Carmen mentioned, maybe we should have fundraisers at 2 different sites in the same year. Maybe it needs to be spaced out or something. But anyway, this might be good homework for the rest of us to help the committee come up with the items that we actually can go for.
Yeah, I saw this personally as a list of mays, not shalls. So that you're not required to do all of these, but these are in vein with the type of fundraising that would be approved. So you're not having just free reign fundraising, but they fall within these general parameters.
You're not gonna give me free reign?
I'm not kidding. Oh, dang it, sorry. Further discussion, recommendations, fears?
I'm hearing that your fear is not all fundraising options are on the table, but these are within the ilk of what
Yeah.
we're looking at. Is that a general consensus?
Yeah.
So as far as the action requested, or is the commission not wanting to make an action item at this point regarding the fundraising activities and hold off until some more discussion can happen to the next meeting?
I think that we need to make some sort of decision now because we're for many of these items to take action. They need to move forward. I would like to see some combination of the things where as long as the fundraising is within the vein of what's described here, it doesn't have to fit these exact dates or the exact timeline, but it could be some opportunities for fundraising.
Yeah, the way I see it is some of these are kind of flushed out already, and the ones that are more time constrained, at least we have those kind of green lighted. But as Commissioner Benward had pointed out, like this is a question that kind of comes after the question of if we're going to continue to extend this program in general. And if so, then some of these could work, and this gives us something to work with. We could start with this, but we can still come back maybe next meeting and say we have flush these out a little bit more, or take some more guidance from the commission on fundraisers that would fit the target a little bit better. So
Well, given that the Adopt a Park group is made of commissioners, I personally feel comfortable moving forward if someone made a motion that as long as they're within this vein, that they could do, that we could do this, but that we would need hardcore actual dates and events provided back to the.
I feel like, yeah, at least if there's anything that is not on this list, it would still need to be cleared
Mhm,
through this commission,
mhm.
correct?
Yeah,
All right.
give me a motion.
Since I'm on the park commission meeting, is there anybody that would like to, or the pilot program thing, is there anybody else that would like to make that motion, or do you want me to go ahead and make my own motion? I'll make my own motion. I would like to move that we approve the fundraising efforts for the Adopt a Park pilot program and the fundraising campaign, including the events as listed and but not limited to the ones listed. You got more to add?
But that they're within the same vein. With
But-
dates and additional
Okay,
fundraising.
yeah, I'll add that in there.
her last line here is below is a list of fundraising examples that can be used to begin raising the matching funds if desired.
There we go.
Yeah.
Add that in there. So amended.
Do I have a second?
Oh,
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
We have a first and a second. Additional discussion or concerns or questions? Fears, anxieties. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Right, we're gonna move on down to Mingus Park Master Plan Review, item 3B.
At the February 16th, 2023 Parks Commission meeting, a motion was presented and carried by the commission to create a Mingus Park Master Plan Subcommittee. The subcommittee is presenting the draft master plan to the commission for review. The action requested by staff is requesting the commission review and discuss the draft plan.
Okay, do you want? We'll open it up for general comments on the master plan. If anyone's had a chance to review and has additional commentary that they would like to add. Eric?
Yeah, I did spend some time reviewing it initially when it first got sent out. That was a couple or a few weeks ago, so I'm not quite as fresh on it as I was then, but I did provide her Coco, some written comments. And she incorporated those. She also asked if I would print out an email that she typed out for me in the hopes that I might be able to answer any questions if people asked. But I did not follow her instructions and print that email out. Oh,
Yeah, I've got a copy.
but Jamie did, so.
You'd like to see
Well, that's great. So, I mean, like I say, I'm not super fresh on it, but I mean, I did read through it and I had some comments. So but I think other people have too. So I just want to honor Coco's request to try to help if I could.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other, any commissioner concerns, comments, questions? Kurt, do you have any comments on the master plan? You can just call people.
Why did you look at me? Because I like to talk, I guess. I also reviewed it and I sent some comments into Coco too, and she incorporated those in the master plan, and some of them were just grammatical or maybe some repetition of some things. I think it's a good starting point. I mean, I have concerns about particular parts about what we're going to do with the plan. I'll give you an example. There's a wonderful list of the memorials are in there and the park benches and stuff. But in looking at park regulations and ordinances for that, I don't see any approval process for those.
Because they're no longer approved.
Thank you. I know someone who recently planted a tree there in memory of a deceased spouse. So I'm assuming there must have been some approval process for that.
So that is in our main master parks approval, main master plan. So we did extensively go through an approval process for some of those items.
Okay.
Part of the reason why we're doing the master plan in general is to identify amenities that may or may not need to be added in the future. So that perhaps items that are specific, like a bench replacement or a gazebo, those things could be tagged as memorial items versus no longer permitted is the just black in the ground things.
Okay. And I brought that up only partly because of the list of vegetation like trees and other things that can be planted there. I was thinking if it's okay for people eventually be able to plant trees there, that's the list to go to.
Correct. And so part of the doing the master plan was to come up with a physical actual plan of the park with the things that need to be replaced or identified or potential future great locations for trees and identify some of those locations that could be utilized for memorials to streamline the process. It's a little clunky now, to be honest, when people apply or want to do something for a memorial. It's a little clunky, but by having part of this and some things already pre-identified, then it can help make that process easier.
Would they apply with us or would they apply with?
They apply with Greg.
Okay,
With the city.
thanks.
Yeah. Eric, comments more?
Yeah, I mean, if we're not constrained for time, I guess I would like to just ask about the skate park seem to get I think there's some questions I have about the skate park and it doesn't it doesn't get, in my opinion, enough print space in this master plan as it warrants because of the use that it gets. I feel like the skate park is probably one of the highest use portions of the park there. And I guess I would like to see a little bit more put into this plan for the skate park.
I think part of that is because there are other groups and entities that have some invested interest in the skate park beyond our knowledge, since I haven't been on a skateboard in 25 years. So I think part of that is because there is a group that has that piece, but they can, yes, I understand where it comes from.
So that group is, I'm not sure what group you're referring to. Is that a group that still exists? So you're talking about the group that was involved in putting the skate park together initially?
No, the group that was in here last year for some changes.
Okay.
So to my knowledge, it's still an active group, and I think that's part of why it's not as included. Because there's been much discussion about expansion, changing, modification, and grant programs
Yes.
for that piece as well.
Okay.
But definitely a valid point. Jamie?
Yeah, I agree. It is something that if it's within the city parks system, it should be at least listed as, one of our assets. Agree.
Carmen?
I have no further comments.
Bill? Bev? Okay. Does city staff have any additional comments that they would like to provide on it?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. I think barring the few sections that say insert appendix or insert language from blank website or site, I think all of the commission has provided commentary on it. Would you like a action item to approve it, or is there going to be one final draft that comes out without the highlights? and
This
things
is,
like
this is just a draft at this point. I think
Okay.
until we get to the point to where the draft is ready to be taken off, I think
Okay.
we should wait
Wait,
until we
okay.
get that final rendition.
Okay, so I'm hearing the consensus with the commission is that we're ready to move forward to getting to that final document.
We will advise.
Now moving on down to item 3C, Scout Cabin signage approval.
All right, playing catch up on the wheel here.
It's page 83.
Ah, thank you. I'm on page 81. So one of the projects selected by the commission for the subcommittee was to address the scout cabin. The subcommittee is presenting 4 options for the commission to consider. Per subcommittee member, I'm asking for an approval for the Parks Commission for a sign design choice. Both signs need to be the same. An American bald eagle will be in place of the Boy Scout logo. 2 signs will be donated. Signs will be donated by volunteers who are willing to make and donate 2 signs for the street side. And eventually, when the hazard trees are removed, the trail side to the lower Mingus Park. At the last moment, I received another sign, and there is another style of sign that is requested to be considered for placement for future consideration. The second attachment is a rendering of a sign that is proposed to be placed at the street. The sign, once fabricated and the wording is approved, will replace the sign selected by the commission. The action is being requested. The staff requests a recommendation from the Parks Commission to what signs should be associated with the Coos Bay Mingus Community Building, WPA Scout Cabin that is presented by the Adopted Park Pilot Program Subcommittee. Staff will present this recommendation to the Public Works Community Development Director for a final decision. So just kind of running through here. So my understanding is that we have 2 pages of renderings that are similar in nature, and a volunteer is going to make 2 signs of whichever one we select, or this commission selects to place. One sign will be placed at the street side, and the other sign will be placed inside the Boy Scout or inside the community building until it's able to go up at the where the hazardous trees are going to be removed. So we'll have both of them made. One will be secured inside the site, one will be placed at the street side. The third option, or the sign that is on page 86 is a rendering that was prepared and provided by Mark Stevie. And this is a sign that also would be considered, but he would not make two of these. It would only be one. And it could be placed at the street side, but we still have the other two that the commission would approve. So it's kind of a wonky action request. I apologize. But my understanding is that this sign on page 86 would be placed at the street side with the two other signs that would be fabricated and stored inside the Boy Scout cabin.
Okay. I'm gonna probably separate the action here first and just start with the sign that's presented on 86 to see which is the 3 bars, and to see if that is the commission would approve that for the street side location.
So moved.
All right, we have a first. Can I get a second? So that would be this one at the street location,
And not one of these other 4?
not one of those other 4, because this one's bigger.
The other 4, one's gonna be in the building, the other one's gonna be outside the building as well.
They're small.
Yeah, I believe so.
Where-
So there's not a dimension provided with the signs.
See my level first.
My understanding is that these are big enough to be seen from the street.
The one that caught my eye, and when I look at our master plan, one of the main things is branding.
Yeah.
And I see the city of Coos Bay on the round of the oval one
Mhm.
appeals to me because this is a city of Coos Bay place. It's the Mingus Park Community Building. And I don't see anything on the one that's shown on page 86 that says.
It is, it's on the
It-
second, it's on the second
okay.
one. You can blow it up by going like this on your screen.
Okay.
I
Well, I
got,
don't,
it's
it's
I got a
not
little
here
bit
anywhere.
bigger version here.
Because you
And
click
it
on the
does say-
individual items.
So this one is
Oh.
approximately 5 to 6 wide, 6 feet wide and 6 feet tall, all overall.
That's okay.
On that one, it's the other small ones where I believe there's gonna be 2 plaques. Those are just plaques, right?
No, these are signs.
Those are signs.
These are signs that are going to be placed either on the side of the road or at the trailhead. We have 2, one in reserve just in case the other one gets damaged.
Ah, I get you. Yeah, okay.
So, but on the one on page 86, the 3 bar one, the wording is subject to approval. So I think instead of saying historic WPA Scout Cabin on top, I think it would say Mingus Park Community Building, City of Coos Bay, Oregon at the top. And then it would hierarchy down from there.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment that my understanding was in some of the things, some of the grants and some of the other things we've been interested in, it's been important to focus it as a community building
Mhm,
as opposed to
mhm,
just the
mhm.
scout building.
Correct.
And that's the thing I was gonna mention on the one with the 3 slats. It's historic WAP Scout Cabin right at the top in big letters. And so just for clarification, are we, when I originally read this, before I saw the other one, it was between those 4 different styles, one for the road, one for the trail that leads to the cabin from the Shoshi Park part, okay? So now are we to still 2 signs, one for the trail, one maybe on the cabin, and this one on the front or a street, or are we just this one for the front street and one of the other ones for the trail?
So
I'm getting confused.
no, that's,
Point of
I
clarity.
understand. The sign, the 3 bar sign, if you will, would be at the street. And it would be a one-time sign. If in the future it was to be damaged or fall apart or whatever the situation might be, that sign would not go back up. We would then have a reserve sign of one of these other selected
Okay.
ones. All of these are being proposed to be constructed voluntarily by donation of the fabricator. So it's entirely up to the commission as to how they would like to proceed.
So I want to retract my movement. I'd like our branding for both of these signs to be cohesive and consistent. The Mingus Park Community Building being the largest of the text instead of the historic water, WPA Scout Cabin being the largest. I don't know. I feel like these two styles of signs are conflicting in their messaging. And so I actually have some edits. One being Comic Sans text should not be on a city park sign. I don't know, I'm just not, it seems like bake sale kind of text, not municipality text, but that's a personal opinion. So I would recommend using text or fonts that are city consistent, and I would like to consistently focus on the Mingus Park Community Building as the branding for this building so that it's consistent across both signs. Otherwise, I like the design of, you like the oval. I like the oval. I don't like the text of the oval,
The font or
or sorry, the font, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the hierarchy of, this could fit on the one that goes on the road with the 3 panels.
Mhm.
City of Coos Bay being the largest, the next largest Mingus Park Community Building, historic WPA cabin, and then down below is that information that is established, et cetera.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's just talk shapes, not words.
Okay, break this down.
We're breaking it down. So, because we got 8 minutes. So at the road, we have the option of using one of the 4 that are all one sign, wood sign, or the 3 bars. Is there a preference to use the 3 bars at the road or the sign that is all one?
3 bars at the road.
3 bars at the road?
I guess I'm
Oval
still,
at the road.
I'm still lost. I thought we were gonna do both.
There's a practical reason for putting it on one piece rather than 3 pieces. Though I can see both, if one degrades, you can replace another without having to do it all. But the ledges on this catch rain, this would shed rain better, would probably last longer.
Ooh.
So at one time we had discussed signage and branding for the parks and consistency. I think that there is some waywardness that could be allowed with it being the scout cabin, the historic nature of it, the fact that it was hand built, things like that. So there's some component pieces there that I think are okay. Oh, thanks for getting those up there.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe we should reverse this. Out of the 4 all wood signs, is there a preference between the shapes?
I'll go along with the oval.
Oval.
I'm a square kind of guy, but I'm fine with the oval.
Okay. All right, so we're at the oval. So we're at the oval for the all wood, except for the font.
See, I like the font of the second one down on this one, the square one.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
But I like
Yeah,
the
I
top
agree.
font, the bottom font is Comic Sans, and I
Right.
just can't deal with that.
okay. Okay, so this is what I'm hearing. We're gonna walk through this one step at a time.
It's tough.
So in the lower image, the top 3 lines of font is the preferred font on the oval shaped solid wood board.
So if I may, for clarity purposes, sign 1 being the top one of that page, sign 2 being the bottom one, sign 3 being the round one or oval one.
Yes,
Sign 4. I feel like I'm at the getting my eyes checked, 1
Yeah.
or 3.
yes.
Uh,
Okay, so.
So we like 3.
Sign 2 font on the top 3 lines is preferred.
That's just my opinion.
No, it's consensus. The shape of the sign, majority is approving the oval. we would like to, at least by email, look at the oval sign with the sign to font for final approval. Is that kind of where we're at on that one? Okay. On the 3-bar sign, we would like to look at the font that is on sign 2 on the 3-bar sign with the Mingus Park Community Building being more prominent.
Correct.
Once we review those changes, then we'll be ready to make a decision. Clear as mud? Okay. All right. That is a decision that we could probably also make by email, possibly within the realms of whatever we're allowed to do.
I think what we'd like to do, and I think what we should do is get a proof rendered of the round sign or with sign number 2, the oval sign, or sign number 3.
Sign 3.
Oval sign with sign 2 font. And then the
Excluding the Comic Sans.
Yeah, the top 3 lines of sign 2 font.
top 3 such, yeah, okay. And then on the 3-panel sign, that once again with the same font as the top 3 for sign 2. With the Mingus Park Community Building, City of Coos Bay, Oregon as being the top panel.
Mingus Park Community Building
Being
the top
prominent.
panel, the
Being prominent.
Okay,
because those are conflicting brandings, you know, so you have historic WPA Scout Cabin on one as being the main prominent, you know, title. And then on the other ones, it's the Mingus Park Community Building. That's the prominent branding. And so I
Yeah.
just think those
Yeah,
need to be
just-
consistent.
Just swapping it is not going to satisfy the committee. I'm just guessing on that one.
okay. So the top bar, Mingus Park Community Building.
Mhm.
The second bar, City of Coos Bay Historic WPA Scout Cabin,
Sure.
Sure.
in that order.
Yep.
Mhm.
City of Coos Bay.
And I think we're all in consensus that we like the bottom panel.
So we get one thing that I would let you know, on the bottom panel, we can leave it. The Boy Scout logo will be replaced with just an eagle.
Okay.
Fine with me.
I'm gonna watch this video like 10 times. I know that.
I can draw it out for you.
Yeah, we'll sketch it. We'll get to doodling. Okay, so we'll table any decision until we get the proofs for those items. We are just going to rapid fire through item 3D, quarterly budget status.
Okay, tough act to follow here.
Do you have diagrams?
So Parks Commission recommended that we present status on the Parks budget quarterly. So this is that. What I'm going to go through is the adopted Parks budget, financial statement, and then tools that staff uses. And Amy, you may want to bring those up so the audience can see as well. So the first one is the budget. It should look familiar. And I'll sit here and wait for Amy to bring that up. But does anybody have any questions on the adopted budget? You've seen it before, but just want to make sure nobody has any questions.
Why isn't it larger?
And this is just,
How do we get another 0?
Yeah.
this is just a question from the newbie. Is the grant writer and contractual?
It is.
Okay,
It
thanks.
is. Okay, so there, it's kind of hard for the audience to see, but there is the adopted budget. It's available on the website. The total operating budget is just a little under $800,000, and all of this is funded by the general fund. Okay, now these are our financial statements, and staff uses these to project where we are currently, and if we keep on the same spending trends, how we're going to end up at the end of the fiscal year. And this fiscal year ends June 30th. So in looking at this, we are doing fairly well. You're going to notice when you see brackets, that means we're in the negative because we added sometimes we are in the negative. For instance, if you look at automotive parts, we have gone over budget just due to repairs. But then the Mingus Pool operations, it used to be lumped into one line item, and we've separated that out so we can better track. As you can see, we so far to date have spent about $11,000 on chemicals for the pool, $30,000 on utility, and 60, excuse me, I'm on the wrong, let me start over. For the chemical, we spent $11,000, $30,000 for utility, and $13,000 for supplies. Yeah, you got questions, it's okay.
I was just gonna say, that really is all the $80,000 for the pool operation that was budgeted. But the way that you track it there, you put all that $80,000 at the bottom. So it looks like the supplies are $66,000, so they're good, but they're really not.
They're not. And full disclosure, the $80,000 isn't going to be enough for this fiscal year to manage it. Even though the pool's been down, once it's up, which is going to be up soon, we're going to exceed that $80,000, and it's supposed to be satisfied in a supplemental budget that is pending for council approval. We have righted that. Good timing. We are currently working on next year's fiscal budget, which starts July 1st. And we have adjusted that budget considerably to match actual expenses. Okay, any other? Please.
I was just gonna say you're doing a good job because we're 66% of the way through the year and just about everything on there is below that. So you've done a good job of controlling expenses the best you can.
And I'm going to thank Greg and Lance for that. They are the ones that manage this budget. So one thing to note on here, and you guys, this body here, we're really gonna count on you to maybe communicate to council. The general fund isn't as healthy as we would like to see it. And we would certainly like to see that $50,000 for that Parks grant writer in next year's budget. I don't know if that's going to be approved or not. We are putting it in there as staff, but it's going to go to the city manager, and she's going to look at all the general fund budgets and then have to make those decisions. So this body, you have a voice. So there you go. There's my pitch.
And performance on said grant writer.
Okay, I was gonna save that for the staff comments.
Go ahead. You can save it if you like.
I can give it to you now if you'd like.
Go for it. Whatever
Okay.
way you want to go.
Okay, so far to date, we have received 2 grants. And that's the Mogan Foundation, so the Mingus Park relocation of the kitty area and some rewilding of that swampy area. And then the Cookwell Community Fund, and we're going to remove the hazardous trees at the Coos Bay Mingus Community Building. So we just today submitted the Safe Routes to School. It's not a citywide as we thought it would be. It's located on 3 schools. It's pretty citywide, but 3 schools at Sunset, Destinations, and Marshfield High. And so they'll take a 2-mile radius around there and covers a large part of the city. Next week, we will be submitting on the local government grant program, and that's for the Mingus Park restrooms. So it's going to be a brand new restroom on the west side, right there at 10th Street when you saddle, and on the east side where the ball fields are, we're going to rehabilitate that. We're looking at making them as vandalism resistant as we can. We're looking at ADA accessibility. They're going to be there's going to be drinking fountain, again, vandalism as proof as we can. But that total budget is in the $500,000 range, and there's a 40% match. So the letter of intent application period opens up for the Mogan grant for the next cycle, next month here in just a week or so. And we're gonna go for $100,000. We're gonna ask them for that. And so we're also have the, let's see, the Oregon Parks Foundation. We submitted that grant. That was the community fund that we did. And we're also going to do the Trailblazers Fund that's due here in April. And then the Charitable Giving Fund for the Scout Cabin is also due in April. And I think that is it. So a
Yeah.
lot of grants.
Yeah, so application success rate, no,
Well,
for at least ones that have been.
so what we know about.
Yeah.
We've only been denied one, and that was Cycle Oregon.
Okay,
So the other one's either pending or they've requested more information. The Ford Family Foundation has requested more information. One of the requests was, you guys need to do some fundraising. So thank you.
okay.
So if I could ask a question about you said you outlined several grants that are in progress to be applied for. You mentioned some dates like April 1. When is the grant writer, is it a contract, I guess, end?
Mhm. June 30th, technically.
And that's what you're looking for to get budget, general fund money for an extension or,
That's correct.
okay.
And we're hoping here in another month or so, we'll have a little bit more good news
Mhm.
for this body. Okay.
So too.
Right before the budget meeting.
Yeah, that would be nice. But it takes a while. Grant
Yes.
cycles and this is the busy season, and I know it's gonna take these grantors a couple weeks, if not months, to decide.
Thank you.
Does the grant writer have obligations for work during the May? I guess if they go through June, or is it through June or?
Through June.
It's through June 30th.
So the months of May and June, are there plans for the grant writer?
Well, we've submitted a lot of grants, and what I can do at staff comments at the next meeting is let you know where we are in the contract.
Mhm.
I think after this big push, we're gonna have the majority of their contract expended.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Jennifer. Do you have additional comments on the budget?
I don't, the next 2 pages were just the tracking tool that staff uses almost daily to track the budget, and I just wanted you to see what we've created.
All right. Thank you so much. Comments on the budget?
Couple quick questions on that one. On both of these, I know it says approximate amount to date, but I never know what the date is because it's blank.
That's a really good question. This one was March.
Okay, because it's tough to evaluate how much, and on the one where it's Parks and Cratchwell breakdown, which it's the shorter page one.
Mhm.
The anticipated remaining expenses, that's really what's left from the budgeted amount. It's really not that you expect that much more expense, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so it seems like the nomenclature for it's a little bit weird when you say, because when I read it, it made it look like, well, we've got those expenses anticipated. And then the very last one, the big one,
Okay.
the top line, building and grounds maintenance, you have $50,000 in there, but I think it was budgeted, was it budgeted for more than that? Or am I reading it wrong?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
Probably not. So on our tool, we had 80. And on the actual budget,
We have 80
okay,
and we have 50 at the top of that other screen. So
Okay.
in the long form one, oops, we say 50, but we really budgeted 80.
well,
Building
Yes.
maintenance,
Mhm.
80. Park building and maintenance,
123.05. Okay, we will fix that. Guess what? We found $30,000 more dollars.
Oh, sweet. We can spend it.
Oh.
All right. Any additional commissioner questions or comments on the budget? No, okay. Thank you for presenting that. I think it was an important component piece to bring through. We're gonna rapid fire through the rest of us. So since we're over time already. I'm looking for any additional staff or commissioner closing comments. Start down.
You have any comments? No. I do have some comments. So I'm gonna give you guys this paper here. This is just listen to what the Parks Commission meeting regarding the bicycle lanes on Central Avenue. This is a conceptual drawing that I put together. I did reach out to a traffic engineer, had a conversation, presented this conceptual idea to that traffic consultant. And theoretically, it can work. And when I say theoretically, it can work, is that it is gotta be vetted out by an engineer.
True.
By a traffic engineer.
True.
So what we'd like to do as staff is, or what we're going to do is, like I said, we listened to her, what she said, this is the possibility of moving that center turn lane that turns on the 12 in there, but we're gonna do a traffic count of what kind of vehicles, and we're gonna do that during the peak hour, just to get an idea of what we're looking at. The second thing is we're gonna be canvassing the area with a letter, and we're gonna try to take this to a council work session to get the citizens' input on what they would like to see here, so. I appreciate the back and forth that we had at the last Parks Commission, and I just want to do it, I want to do it safely, I want to create a bicycle, but I want to do it safely. How do we do that? I think this idea might work, so I'm gonna continue to pursue this until we have pull the trigger and do it, or pull the drain and flush it. But I do appreciate the input, and I appreciate the ideas and the back and forth we had.
I know we're running over, but a couple of quick comments on that. I appreciate you spending the time doing it and working on it and taking it seriously. I hope there was also a comment, I think last time, maybe even from Carmen, about maybe the speed limit could be 25 instead of what it was going up the hill. And the other thing, when they look at that, I hope they really, you look at that turn lane that's in the middle, because that you're talking about looking at, because it's not even wide enough for a car to fit in there.
No.
It is super narrow. I don't think it even meets the requirements for the width of a turn lane.
And if you look at this conceptual drawing, that is gonna be going away
Yeah,
Okay.
conceptually,
conceptually.
so.
Well, thank you. for
See you out there at midnight. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'll express my appreciation and gratitude for taking a deeper look at that as well, because I think big picture wise, you know, as was like one of the comments last month was that this is a major connector east-west from downtown Empire, and I think ultimately, yeah, it'll be important.
Yeah, I think one thing that we, as we move forward with our citywide plan, and one of the hesitations, I still do have a hesitation about doing this, and that hesitation is how to join everything together, how to move it both upstream and downstream.
Well, I got plans.
This is a portion of it, but we've got to look at the entire holistically. I'm excited about what I think might work, and we're going to pursue that. So once again, I appreciate the input from last time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. We appreciate this very much so.
Thank you. I'll provide status as soon as I get it.
Okay, thank you very much. Bev, closing comments?
Is to possibly, is there a way temporarily put some cones in the middle of this that aren't gonna be a big cement curb for people that are, as you practice, can you just put a couple rubber cones there so they can get run over and not cause a great big accident? To see how people get upset about it or not, and not cause an accident? Can you do something like that?
I don't want to put any barriers in the road that are unnecessary. I think this could be hashed out with engineering and design without putting any barricades in the roadway.
So this could be just maybe painted when it. if it
Oh,
works?
this drawing that you see here is just a conceptual, and whatever we put on this ground is gonna be paint, not any hard structures
Okay,
in the roadway.
just a question. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That's- Thank you,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thanks, Bev. Bill? Good. Carmen?
I am good.
All right. Jamie? Eric?
Well, of course, I'm going to say something. Just a couple of quick things. Well, not necessarily quick, but I will make them quick. I really support the grant writer idea for next year in the budget. You know, I've been looking at a bunch of different grants that we might be eligible for, bike paths, pedestrian paths, and other things. There was all this infrastructure money that the federal government has passed down. It comes down all at once. There's no way in the world there's city staff time to do that. And the grant writer is really important for that. So I think it's important that we do that. I sat in on a webinar from ODOT that was for bike paths, but they're off-road bike paths. A lot of money, $61 million. I don't know where they would be applicable in town, but maybe we can think about it. It's not something that needs to be applied for right away. But they have to be paved because they have to be ADA compliant. and they have to be for transportation and not recreation. So that's something to think about. I also took a look at a TGM grant, which is basically for planning. The routes to school thing has been good for some of our school stuff, but didn't accomplish the entire citywide bike plan. But that particular grants, they have about $2 to $2.5 million. It's basically for planning. The city of Cottage Grove just finished their update to their TSP for bike and pedestrian stuff. The pre-application is due April 1st. The regular application for a grant's not till later, and you don't have to actually do the pre-application, but it's only 2 pages. What kind, basically says, what do you think your project is? I think it's something we ought to seriously look at for updating the TSP and doing the bike plan. It's probably a better fit than the Safe to Schools and a better fit than the off the road grant thing as well. And I have others, but the one last thing that I want to say is I know we want to keep these meetings short. And I know I talk too much, so I don't help with that. But, and I appreciated the work session we had before. We just have a lot of things on the table. And I think every once in a while, we ought to consider a work session again. I made notes to myself while we were talking. So the next meeting, windmill siting, decision on adopt a park program, decision on the fundraising programs, decision on the Mingus Park plan, final approval on the plan, Central Street review. And it just gets to be too much for us to, I think, to have a good discussion and review the project. So
Agreed.
I think we need to look at a different way of approaching some of this stuff. And maybe sometimes of the year it's real busy and we want to have a work session. Maybe sometimes it isn't and we don't need it. So just putting that out there.
And I think maybe for the consensus of planning, just go ahead and planning at least a quarterly work session so that it's on the books. And then if we don't need it, we don't use it.
That's what the city council does.
Yeah, I second Kurt's concerns about our time. Excuse me, we have 1 hour and we're already an hour and a quarter. So it's tough. We've got, and especially we've added all this bicycle stuff. We haven't even really talked about that today, except for this last item. So I don't know what the answer is, but I am concerned that we've got a lot on our plate. I don't know how we build our capacity to get it done, but the work sessions are a good suggestion, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I think let's add that to the agenda for next, discussing some regular work sessions, maybe every other month, or I don't know if we necessarily need it each month, but let's have that open for discussion and come with ideas on what would work session wise. So. All right, staff, Jennifer, you're good. All right. I would just like to say I appreciate everybody coming in. I appreciate people from the audience participating. We have a lot of really cool stuff going on. I feel a lot of forward momentum, and I think that's really awesome to see and to feel. So I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much, and we are adjourned.
Cheers.
Thank you.